Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Hope you're having a nice day here today. We're going to be going into another 2 vs 2 on this channel. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the first 2 vs 2 game. This one, I've been told that Protoss vs Protoss is supposedly the weakest grouping of 2 vs 2 teams. But that's what we have here. In the top right of Polypoid, we have KenZy, and his teammate in the bottom left is TT1. Now, on the previous game, I just did team colors. Here, because they're both Protoss, I felt like let's just keep it, let's just keep each player's individual colors. So yeah, it's Wave down here against Izu up here. Izu is a pretty strong Zerg player. I know him from 1 vs 1, and he's like a high A, low S type Zerg. Wave, I'm not entirely sure who he is. There is a pretty dedicated player base of pretty decent players that play 2 vs 2s. So yeah, he might be one of those. Maybe he's a 1 vs 1 guy, and I'm just not sure of it. Not entirely sure. But anyways, yeah, KenZy's pretty well known from Europe. Definitely a pretty strong Protoss player, and of course TT1, you know him. So you could see TT1 and KenZy kind of discussing their strategy, like maybe going for quick speed lot, that type of thing. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, right? So Zerg Protoss against Protoss. The thing about Zerg is you get the Zerglings out, which can help because they're so fast. You can get them out in great numbers with their Zergling speed quickly, so it's really kind of reactive to help out. And then you have, Mutalisks, where it's like, well, Mutalisks, you could see in the previous 2 vs 2 game how Scan just kind of dominated a lot of what was going on with the Mutas, because then suddenly you have to have units that shoot up, and those are going to be weaker against ground units, and you have all that mobility. But of course, don't forget, you don't have that much gas. You don't have that many resources. So just something to point out. Now, KenZy adding a second gate, as is TT1. We have the 2 gate here, just slightly quicker from Wave, and Izu just going for his spawning pool and a hatchery at the ramp. I think he's going to have some sort of static D at this ramp, just because if you think about it, like, think about 1 vs 1s that you see that are Protoss vs Zerg, and how hard it can be for a Zerg to just hold off a 2 gateway zealot push. Well, this could end up being a 4 gateway zealot push. So, like, you're going to actually have to abuse terrain quite a bit, right? Like, put some Sunkens up here, block the ramp, that type of thing, to make it impossible for your opponent to attack. Now, it looks like TT1 has gone offensive gas here on Wave. Wave sending his first zealot over to the left-hand side. A little bit of discussion going on. Now, the person who ended up giving me these games, as I think you can probably tell, is TT1. So I think that's why you can see the text from him and his teammate, right? Because people are in allied chat, so maybe that his replay didn't record his opponent's chat, but I would assume that they're probably chatting as well, or maybe they're on voice chat. I'm not entirely sure. So just something to put out there as a little disclaimer. So that 1 zealot did check over at TT1's base, but now it's walking back up towards that top right. The offensive gas did get dealt with, obviously, very quickly. Battery ramp, no more zealot to Z. Okay, so I think TT1 right here is just kind of calling exactly how to play the position. Like, use the shield battery up at the top of the ramp. Obviously, that makes a big difference. And he wants them to defend against the incoming 2-gate zealot rush from their other opponent. Now, here comes the push here. TT1 setting up some zealots, and of course, KenZy had already sent up 3. And you can see how difficult this can be. This Sunken is really far back. I guess if you start to run by, this area becomes a meat grinder. Cancels out those eggs. That's kind of interesting. Looks like the shield battery basically did its job and prevented that attack. Now, Wave going towards bottom left, but there is a shield battery here for TT1 as well, who's bringing a couple zealots home. So it seems like between high ground plus closeness of gateways plus shield battery, I think our Protoss players are going to be fine against these Protoss rushes. So what do you have? Yeah, I was going to say, what do you do here as the opposing team? And it looks like it's going to be a Hydralisk den. 2 vs 2 was something that existed professionally for a long time. A lot of the Pro League matches, I forget what year they got rid of it. I believe it was in 2008, the last professional 2 vs 2 match was played, but I might be a little bit off on that. But I believe it was. So they eventually did get rid of professional 2 vs 2, but that was a thing for a really long time. if fans kind of liked it overall. It actually was important at one point in time for pro teams to have the best 2v2 players. Oftentimes that did overlap with 1v1 players, but not always. And I do know that most players would get very upset being assigned the 2v2 role. Just to put that out there, right? Because it's like you have to practice 2v2 all day so your team wins in Pro League, which means you're not practicing your 1v1, and your aspirations of a pro gamer, you might feel like are getting further away. Now, that being said, Nesty, the legend from StarCraft 2, was a 2v2 player primarily, and Savior started his career as a 2v2 player. So I actually think that there's something there where you learn about the basics of units so well, because that's actually what they were both extremely good at in their primes, that they kind of differentiated themselves. Anyways, that's a talk for another time. Now, looking at all these sides, it looks like some cannons going up to try to help hold on as the Dragoons come up to get the extra pot shots in. The cannon should be able to hold it all very easily. Stargate with the Corsair on the way, Zealot legs on the way here for KenZy. Looking down at TT1's base, Dragoon range, heavier Dragoons, and a Robo. So it looks to me like they're splitting what they're doing. So Zealot legs plus Corsairs for KenZy in the top right. So he's playing more of like the PvZ role. And then down on this side, Robo and Dragoons for TT1. He's playing more of the PvP role. Very interesting to see. Now, Hydralisks are obviously the next thing that are coming out. You can see these Speed Hydras already kind of tried to catch this Corsair and put a little bit of damage there. Cancel cannon main. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. TT1 very much on top of things. If you see Hydralisks, obviously you don't need anti-Mutalisk tech, or defenses rather, I guess, which would be the cannon in the main base. So it's going to be Hydras. Expansion coming up here for Izu. Looking down at Wave's base. Heavy Zealots. We have Zealot legs. We have Templar Archives as well as the Forge. So he doesn't really need to invest in anything like the Corsair. So that's like an important thing to mention. This is a little bit annoying that the Corsair can come down here. There's very little anti-air, so it looks like he should be able to get one of these Overlords done. In the meantime, TT1 does have a little spying going on at that hatchery. TT1 very active in talking, just making sure that everything is kind of lining up. So it looks like TT1 is calling for an attack. He's got heavy range Dragoons, and KenZy here is going to have heavy Speed Zealots. No +1 yet on either side. So out comes Wave. Now, Wave is going to have his own Zealot legs done pretty quickly here, just to mention. And he's going to have quite a few. In fact, some Dark Templars coming out. That might be really, really helpful. We'll see. And here's the join up of the army. TT1 and KenZy moving up towards Zerg. These Hydras stand no chance against this army. KenZy's got to come in and hit a good flank. I think TT1 has a decent shot of getting rid of this hatchery before Wave can even come up here to help. So KenZy targeting that down. Oh, look at this nice coordinated army movement. Like TT1 moving down and KenZy kind of follows him. Okay, the Speed Zealot's going to go up against the Hydras. The Hydras are going to want to pull up the ramp. Now, if Zealots get on top of the Dragoons, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble. This looks very good from Wave coming up with these Dragoons. And in fact, okay, there is actually an observer here, so he can pick off these Dark Templars. But Wave's Zealot flank, absolutely crushing face. Now, the hatchery did go down, but to me, this looks much, much better right now for our Zerg Protoss combo in Wave Izu. Like, Wave has a lot of units left over. There's a lot of Hydras left over as well. And there's just no expansions going up for TT1 and KenZy. So I think it's going to be a very tough comeback trail for them. Now, they're both still safe, and they both can make a lot of units here still. No, this is, I guess this is the fastest additional base on the map. And so you've still got almost a minute before this starts giving you any sorts of returns. So there's still, I think, some good play here. Obviously my judgment is going to have to build over time with 2 versus 2, but like that would be kind of my take, where it's like, okay, there's still something here. It's funny watching these units not attack each other. I'm like, no, attack move. Oh no, maybe they are. It's just their teammates. My 1 versus 1 brain is tricking me there. All right, so Looks like the DT is going to be a really, really important aspect of this. The DT for KenZy, there is an observer here from TT1, so he actually could kill off this DT as well. But are there just too many units coming? Is his Nexus just going to get canceled out? The DT, obviously not enough to hold this off by itself. Wave going to want to run these units back. Looks like he'll get a Zealot trapped. In the meantime, Wave has his expansion up. Izu getting an expansion up here as well. Four-gate. I think he's instructing KenZy here to do four-gate. Now, looks like, yeah, a DT drop is coming in from KenZy. That's kind of interesting. I'm surprised that he went for Robo, because it seems like they were splitting what they were doing. But yeah, maybe that's a thing. I'm not entirely sure. +1 going to be finishing for TT1. +1 is done over here for Wave. KenZy, +1 is done for him as well, with +1 armor on the way. Now, the DT drop, I guess it's going to go down here. This actually, there's no Overlord here. If you remember, there was like a Corsair that kind of cleared out one of them, and the other one seems to be following the main army since DTs are out at this time. Now, Hydra plus just random Protoss units coming over. This looks like he's just got to pull back. Yeah, but I think the counter drop here from KenZy has really, really good potential. There's like no detection here. Oh my god, the double DT doing so much work already, getting rid of a ton of probes. The probes do get pulled. There's cannons down here, but no cannon in the main base. Even one cannon would have made a huge difference. And it looks like this shuttle will get caught on the way home. Great catch there from Izu that moves. He moves those Hydras into position. Izu now, mining from his expansion. He does have the Spire up. We haven't really seen too many Spire units. Maybe just a couple Scourge here and there. Few Hydras running into this new natural. TT1 still not starting his own, just making a ton of units right now. Look at this, just 23 workers. I tell you what, 2 vs 2 StarCraft is such a different game. It is such a different game from StarCraft 1 vs 1. Okay, pushes back on the Zealot High Templar here with the Mass Hydra. Coming in now, getting those Zealots up at the front. The Zealots up at the front are going to do much better against these High Templar. KenZy trying to hold on with those Psy Storms. He gets some decent Storms, and in fact, double Reaver here from TT1. I hadn't even realized that he was going for that, but yeah. Izu trying to target that all down, but the Dragoon Reaver army doing a fantastic job here, and they will push everything back for their opponents. Taking a look at the supplies, looks like TT1 and Wave are similar, but Wave has way more workers, so his economy is way better, which means TT1's army is the strongest in this game right now. Izu is supply block. He's not super high on drones, but he's third, right? So he's got that little bit of extra mobility factor. And then KenZy, 26 probes, actually has some very good supply as well. I'm not sure what he's talking about there, but it looks like Wave has pulled a bunch of units over to the side. Probably going to want to bring these in for a flank, but I think he just doesn't quite have enough units here. Even though this is a pretty strong army, Dragoons do really well against Archons, so those are going to be cleared out pretty quickly. So kind of a wasted Storm, I'd say, from KenZy there. The Storm just licking the Archons, not helping all that much. And it looks like this base might, in fact, be going down. Izu bringing down a couple of Mutalisks. We'll see if he does a full-on switch into that. Trying to pick off the High Templars. He actually does pick off the High Templars. Or the High Templar that was left over here for KenZy. Some more Zealots coming up to help out. Looks like this Nexus not going to hold for Wave. Definitely in a little bit of trouble down here. He actually has the most supplies still, although most of it, again, is in those probes. No static D. We have no battery, no cannons up here. Great Storms do go down on those Dragoons, though. Gets a ton of damage there. All right, another Storm pushes those Dragoons back. But you know what? I think that they found the damage that they were looking for. And now we have an expansion up for TT1, an expansion up for KenZy, an expansion up for Izu, but nothing here for Wave any longer. Muta's flying in, seeing what they can get done. Zealots going to Zerg. He has switched into Mutas at least partially. Maelstrom on the way there for KenZy, which is cool to see. So definitely some Dark Archon action. There's the Dark Archon. Very nice. All right, the Muta's coming back. I just don't think they're going to do enough here. Dragoon's pushing forward. The Sunken on the high ground, if he could get that into the defense, like pull everything over that way, it would help quite a bit, but it just seems like a little bit too much damage coming up. Now, Wave coming up with a bit of a flank. He does have one additional upgrade, but his army not quite as large, unfortunately. This hatchery taking massive, massive damage. I think we're pretty close to TT1 and KenZy closing this out because they've now killed both of their opponents' expansions, and they both have their own expansions up. Now, Wave is making a new one, but it does feel like Izu's units are being slightly outclassed during most of this. You know, the Mutas, I don't feel like they did that much. DT down to Protoss. Oh, his observer sees that there's really nothing here as far as detection goes. So yeah, DT could do a great job picking off some of these High Templars. You know, I think that's actually why they originally made the Dark Templar. They're like, this is going to be our assassin unit. And well, it is a little bit, but I kind of get the feeling that was the original idea. Is like, yeah, he'll go in and he'll take out the ghost before you even notice it. That type of thing. Whereas it's like, no. There's no audible note about it killing workers. So, yeah, that's how we use it. Okay, a push coming in now. Now, these storms are fantastic, but there are some Reavers in here. Now, Psystorm technically counters Reavers, but, you know, not always. Like, if they stay out of range and are getting some pot shots, the Reavers are still going to fare very well. I love the positioning TT1 had on those. Some Hydras coming in now as well. The Storms definitely did some pretty good damage. And we do have another attack coming down to the bottom right. So some Storms go down here onto Wave's probes. He's actually dancing them really, really well. DT's coming out. Oh my god, that was an insane size storm. Really, really devastates his economy down to just 8 probes at this time. And I think KenZy's going to get this Nexus. So, yeah, it's looking like the end of the game, I would say. Although a little bit harder to tell than in a 1v1. Like, it really doesn't look like Wave can put much more into this game. His economy's just gone. He's got this Nexus, so, like, yeah, I guess he can start producing again. He's got a couple DTs out. But the fact that the economy for both our Zerg and Protoss player on this team are completely devastated, it just doesn't seem like they're ever going to break TT1 and KenZy. And, you know, they should... TT1 and KenZy should be able to just kind of like ride out the storm and then just have a much bigger army and win this game, I think. All right, the single DT coming down. Oh boy. Gonna go after these probes. Looks like that should be pretty much the end of it. Look at that, just 6 workers remaining. He's going after the Nexus now as well. Maybe there's one attack left for Izu and Wave. A lot of the Hydras being brought to the bottom left. Yeah, some Psy Storms. Like, if you hit great Psy Storms, take the fight from the high ground. These are, like, things that can definitely help you to take the fight much better and do a better job. He has 5 High Templars, so that is a lot. Goes all the way forward with that Archon. That's going to be picked in a matter of seconds. So is this DT. Trying to get in with the Psy Storm. You know, this is a very clumped area, so the Psy Storms are doing well. Yeah, going to be able to pick off that, maybe? No, not quite. Not quite. Another storm onto those Dragoons. The Muta's flying in. Okay, that's gotta be it, right? There's just a handful of Hydras left on the map. The Nexus has fallen. No more minerals here for Wave. He can make one more probe or one more High Templar if he gets enough gas even. Now with KenZy taking his high ground, getting his 3rd Nexus ready. TT1 coming out with those Dragoons. Yeah, this, I think now that they've finally moved out, right? Because, like, they've run in and sniped some things, but this is kind of like, I think, the final move. The High Templar's getting sniped here a little bit. Looks like he does end up saving him. GG is called, and there you have it. The double Protoss end up winning. I guess 2 Protoss are better than 1. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope that you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.